Even if you only saw one episode of Suits, we all knew right from the start that this lawyer was an unusual character. He was the villain of The Office. Louis is that character that you hate, and love again. Regardless, Louis LITT was still my favorite character in the show. And if you have an issue with this, guess what? You're about to get lit up. Hi guys, my name is Susan. On this video, we'll look at some of the reasons why we love to hate and hate to love Louis as a character. Spoiler warning, if you've not seen Suits and you don't want spoilers, save this video and come back after you do. Let's talk about the things that we know about Louis. Louis was born and raised in Scarsdale, New York. Louis did not have any friends as a child. He was bullied in school. He also homeschooled until he was about 10 years old. During high school, Louis was the captain of the Glee Club. You can tell that from the series, Louis loves theater and Broadway and opera. Anyway, Louis had a rough childhood. He was bullied through high school and he received multiple heartbreaks, both as a child and as an adult. People took advantage of Louis to get to his sister because she was attractive. Flash forward to adult Louis. We're now looking at this very brilliant lawyer who is a graduate of Harvard Law. He's an expert in corporate finance, the firm's highest billing attorney. He's also extremely jealous, he's insecure, he never feels respected, he's desperately looking for love in all the wrong places and always seeking validation from his colleague who he respects and also aspires to be like Harvey and his boss Jessica. Now, Louis did some pretty unthinkable things as a lawyer. But before I get into that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit the thumbs up button. It really goes a long way and it helps this video a lot. Remember when Louis forced one of his associates, Harold, I believe, to take care of his cat, even though he knew that Harold was allergic to cats? Now, my cross saw this and asked Harold if Louis knew about his cat's allergy, and Louis, who was still within vicinity, heard that and was like,
I tried to, but he said that allergies are a sign of weakness.
Come on. Speaking of cats, Nigel was representing Derby at the time, the company that merged with Pearson for a hot minute. He left his cat under Louis's care. He went overseas for a trip and then he returned prematurely from the trip, and Louis had become emotionally attached to this cat and refused to hand the cat back over to the owner.
I'm not ready.
Louis.
He was supposed to be gone for 2 weeks. We had a verbal contract. I would have custody for 2 weeks.
It was a babysitting arrangement.
One that I was mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared for. And accordingly, I am legally entitled to Mikado for 1 more week.
That is not the law.
Long story short, they eventually had to go to a mock trial to determine the cat's ownership, and it was ruled in Louis's favor. But then Louis had to choose between the cat and the associates, and of course, who exactly is Louis without his associates? He ended up giving back the cat just to get the associates back. We can also see how vindictive Louis is when he deliberately leaves Harvey's income documents at the firm for all the partners to see. He was basically trying to turn his colleagues against Harvey. He got the desired reaction because the partners were like, you can't be earning this much money.
How the hell you justify making this much money?
Where'd you get this?
It was left in the copy machine.
By who?
I don't know. Now every senior partner's seen it. And people are furious.
I earn every penny I make.
And I wondered about this because Harvey was portrayed to be handling the most cases and bringing in business into the firm. So why were they shocked at his salary? Anyway, back to Louis. We see the can't be trusted Louis in action when he bugs Harvey's office. I recorded their conversation twice. One of those times he snitched on Harvey with Anita Gibbs by recording Harvey's confession about hiring Mike, who we all know is a fraud. And this could have landed Harvey in jail. Also, I think the worst thing that Louis did was when Louis was like, hey, Harvey, I need you to help my sister with this case. Promise not to sleep with her. And Harvey was like, of course, your sister, I mean, come on. Not gonna happen. He later found out that he did and he challenged him about it. Harvey was trying to explain and to apologize, but he attacked Harvey and in 2 seconds, he started saying stars because Harvey shoved him into a coffee table to defend himself. Now, Louis was extremely mad and he demanded that Harvey be suspended. Jessica told Harvey to go apologize to Louis. Harvey did, and Harvey actually opened up to him and told him that he had been seeing a therapist because he was going through panic attacks. And for a hot minute there, we believed that Louis, really forgave Harvey and put everything past him because he looked like he understood the situation. But the next day, we see Louis talking to all the other partners, and right before they go into the next agenda for the day, Louis goes,
If
You're all wondering why I have extensive damage to my skull. It's because 2 nights ago I was viciously attacked by Harvey Specter. And since I would rather not go outside the firm to take legal action, pursuant to Section 28B of the bylaws, I am placing Harvey Specter on immediate unpaid suspension.
And, you know, everyone is shocked, like, what just happened here? Now, you have to understand that Louis, being the way he is not far-fetched from his trauma. He spent most of his formative years, you know, being relentlessly bullied in school. People were only nice to him because they wanted something from him. Like, remember that girl that pretended to be, you know, into him when he was much younger, just to get off her parents' back. Also, the guy that befriended him just to date his sister. I see how these experiences have probably made Louis really insecure. But we see that with therapy, he becomes a lot more calmer with his emotions. He's not as reactive as he used to be. He's forgiving, understanding. In fact, before therapy, he wasn't exactly a complete jerk, I would say. There would be times where he's like super supportive. Take his relationship with Donna, for example. I feel like they had a super tight relationship compared to Donna and Harvey. I mean, their relationships were quite different, given. But they had a really, really, you know, healthy banter between them. He was always respectful of her. He would always remind her how valuable she was. He also tried to get Mike to be his associate and took him mudding and to lunch to make up for the times where he had been mean to him. So we can see that as Louis's character grew, he took more responsibility for his actions. And I would say he was a better team player. He wore his heart on his sleeve, which I personally believe was his best, like was what I loved the most about him. Like, for example, remember when he tried to make it up to Alex and Jeff? I think with Alex, he brought him a plant or a flower or something kind of awkward. I know Alex in his mind was like, what's this guy doing? Like, why is he bringing me flowers or something? I would say he's very passionate about people. He has such a sweetheart that you can't see why he's also passionate when he gets angry or he flares up sometimes. He just has this wide range of emotions that sometimes comes out in a very extreme way, whether it's in a good extreme way or it's in a bad extreme way. You could tell that he cared about people and he would attempt to make things right when he has done something wrong. And yeah, what do you guys think? What do you love or hate about Louis? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed this video. And I will see you in the next video. So you guys, this is the part where I banter about my Louis video. I was supposed to record this video yesterday, but it took me quite a while to come up with a flow of Louis's character. It was hard to, you know, really write a script that would describe how, you know, like that would really describe him. Okay, and I really struggled, to be honest, to come up with writing the script to kind of explain my thoughts and my opinions about him. In a lot of shows, you would see someone that's like the villain that you like nothing about, that literally annoys you all the time. And they sometimes are the villain up until the end, or sometimes they change to become good and you like them. But in this situation, in this with Louis, it was different because he wasn't entirely a villain from the beginning of the series. There will be times that you would love what he does. There will be times that you hate what he does. Like, for example, like what he did with Harold, where he was always bullying him. But what he also did with that guy that had a newborn, where at first he didn't allow him to go on break, but then we see him like holding his child and being caring about his associates. So there was just like this dual side to him that was that you can't like completely hate him at once or completely love him at once.